little bit of that. How about what the Red Sox have done? The acquisition of Chris Sale. How are fans responding to that?
They love it. They do. They love it. And I think that there is a sense of guarded optimism around here when it comes to the Red Sox and what they were able to do, going out and getting Chris Sale. They also, pick up Mitch Moreland. It was quite a week for the Red Sox at the winter meetings. I think what Sale gives you is a third power arm in that rotation, and you consider, adding him to a group that includes Rick Porcello and David Price. You feel pretty good about where you are, and I think that a lot of people are saying that there's every reason to think that if they can even get a little bit more offense, and I'm not quite sure where that would come from to try and replace the loss of David Ortiz, they have to be considered right there when you're talking about the true American League championship contenders, at least at this point on the calendar.
At the same time, the concern, what's it like there in New England, Chris, regarding all of the prospects that were given up, especially the number one prospect in all of baseball? Yeah,
that's always going to be a concern. But I think that's, it is kind of tempered by the fact that when you look at Sale and when you consider the fact that you have him, on relatively short money for a portion of time going forward. Dombrowski said it himself that this team now fundamentally has a 3-year window to kind of, push it out and kind of, not to say they're going to completely disregard the farm system, but, they're taking advantage of the window opportunity right now. And I think Red Sox fans are okay with that. I think that there's always that sense of nagging doubt in the back of their mind, though, that, they gave up a guy who could go on to do something, who could go on to be great. But at the same time, you consider the team that they have around them now. I think they feel good about letting go, parting with 1 or 2 top prospects if it means getting Chris Sale back in return.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe I was more surprised by the fact that they sent out Travis Shaw to the Brewers in that Tyler Thornburg deal. I understand you have to give up something to get something and to address a need there, but does that also mean that they are ready to go into the season with Kung Fu Panda at third?
That's the roll of the dice that they're taking, and I think that's a fascinating, it's a fascinating gamble on the part of this team because he, in a relatively short time, already has some considerable baggage in his stretch here in New England, and considering how last year ended and how he kind of shut it down, or how the team had him shut it down. It's going to be fascinating to see how he responds. We're seeing all these pictures on social media of a newer, slimmer Pablo Sandoval. I'm just fascinated to see if that is sustainable over the course of the rest of the offseason and into the 2017 baseball season. But yeah, that's the big gamble that I think the Red Sox are taking, at least at this point.
So when the Chris Sale acquisition went down, David Ortiz posted on social media that he was enticed to come back. How did Red Sox fans react to that?
Everyone kind of went, oh, kind of, got all tingly there for a second. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think that it's fun to sit and think about the possibility. And a couple people up here on our radio station actually raised a really intriguing scenario where he gets kind of a Clemens-esque deal, where he would come back in July, and he wouldn't have to go on any road trips during the regular season, and kind of setting up all these different possibilities. But I don't think it's going to happen. It would be an awful lot of fun, but I think he's staying retired.
All right, so then why haven't they addressed that situation as far as the DH is concerned? And I thought that they were going to automatically go out and get Edwin Encarnacion available from the Blue Jays. So what's the latest on that front?
Yeah, I think that they weren't able to have that come together, and I think the fact that they were also, I don't want to say they were hamstrung, but the ownership is operating. The ownership basically gave Dombrowski an edict saying, look, we're not going to we're not going to pay the luxury tax this year, so you have a very hard cap in a sense. So that's the question: can this team produce enough offense to match what is at least right now sets up to be a pretty good pitching staff? So I think that the addition of a guy like Sale lessens the expectation on the offense just a little bit. I'm not saying it changes it dramatically, but it lessens it just a little bit. And so you're going to see more, at least in theory, you're going to see more 3-2 games as opposed to 7-6 games. But, who knows between now and then? I think that, like I said before, they're banking on the fact that maybe Sandoval comes back, that Hanley Ramirez is able to kind of take a step from here to here, as well as that young core of Betts, Bradley, Bogarts is able to deliver even more offense in 2017 than they did in 2016.
Hey, Chris, what other moves are ahead for the Red Sox?
I don't think that they're going to do anything dramatic as we saw last week with the Sale thing. I think that if they do anything between now and the start of 2017, it's going to be relatively low level team building things. Tweaking, adding an arm or two here in the bullpen. Kind of cleaning up a few of the rough edges. Between now and the start of spring training. So I don't think it's going to be anything too wildly dramatic. I mean, they've already made their big off-season splash, and I think that they're relatively comfortable with where they are, at least right now.